guys, welcome to Sopimix Studio Umbiamas, conectando Aruba com o mundo via vídeo podcasting. Conectar conosco, compartilhar ideias e histórias para nos inspirar e para conan abrir. Sopimix Studio é plataforma de podcast na Aruba. Follow-nos riba Facebook, subscribe riba YouTube ou riba plataforma de podcast preferido. Escute o podcast preferido que hora e onde que está. Sopimix Studio, powered by Credits, botou ideia? Credits educava e prepara a abo para ser um empresário exitoso. De business plan, guia personal e préstamo para negócio até com 100 mil florim. Bira bom mês donho com Credits. Subway, passa na Subway para o sop, salada, wrap ou flatbread e mais fresco. Com 7 localidades rond Aruba, não está cerca de Ibo. Subway. Swing Masters, organizando events, conferences of weddings, Mr. de luz, sound, staging, DJ, trussing of flat screen, Swing Masters está claro para ser boa festa um êxito. Swing Masters. E agora, Sopimix Studio é plataforma de podcast de Aruba, está apresentar.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, good morning. If you just woke up, welcome.
I sure did.
Yeah, you sure did. And we're a bit late, but that's the beautiful thing about our platforms.
Too much bass, lower it a little bit.
Wait, there we go. Let's set the mood. Ooh, yeah, it's a little bit more exciting and adventurous. Our sponsors, please.
Sure. Thank you, Subway, Swing Masters, and Credits for allowing this podcast to even air every week, and for allowing us to have this amazing studio and to be able to be here every week and talk to you guys.
Yes, good morning. So if you've noticed our theme for today, it's going to be about, well, not about, but let's talk about blockchain and where it's going, technology in general.
New year, new things to come.
New things to come. I have noticed that on our beautiful island, great discussions are happening. People, very influential organizations are thinking about it. And I think that's a great beginning in our mission to advocate great technology, but also educate, right? And we're learning as well, right, Jean-Luc?
Yes. So brief introductions. My name is Jean-Luc. I'm a student at the University of Aruba, and I've had an interest in tech and games my entire life.
Yes, Bruce Harms, digital evangelist, multimedia engineer, and also a passionate follower of technology. I have experienced some, I'm very excited about where we're going, actually. I'm getting, my pessimistic views are slowly going away, and I'm getting excited about the next phase.
So everybody grab the drinks.
And let's get started. And we've got a commercial going through our music. Had to skip that. So yeah, I woke up this morning. I had a nice evening last night with my friends, and we had great discussions. And I did a little bit of research, and I found some cool things.
Tell me about them.
Yeah, so we're going to do some bouncing. I did the research, and you're going to tell me what you think, Jean-Luc.
Sure.
So I stumbled upon Forbes. Predictions for blockchain industry, and I think it's really cool because we've kind of been there, our own
community.
Well, I feel that that's what Tech Impact kind of wants, right? So let's go through it a bit.
So who wrote the article?
Yeah, it was written by Forbes, and I'll pull up the writer.
No, a little bit higher.
A little bit higher. Help me out here. Yeah, Sanu Abdul-Jabbar.
All right.
He's probably a business, tech expert. But I totally agree with it. That's why I found this was the best article.
Interesting. Totally not biased.
Okay. Let's start with the first one. So what's interesting about 2022? And
Hit me.
let's start with governments.
Yeah, a lot of governments are starting to look at it and try to see how they can work with it, right?
Yeah. So he mentions, or Ford mentions, and I agree, that governments are embracing blockchain technology for many reasons, right? So, for example, the most famous government right now is has adopted blockchain, which is El Salvador, and that's a heavy debate on its potential success.
Yes, controversial.
Controversial.
Definitely.
And I'm going to share with you some other things. So if you think about it, they're experimenting not only with, I think the word was called legal tender, right? So
Legal Tinder or tender?
tender, legal tender, which is legal tender is anything recognized by law as a means to settle a public or private debt or meet a financial obligation, tax, or national currency, right? So that's what it's about. So in El Salvador's case, and I'm explaining that because we all need to learn about that, they're experimenting in the legal tender space. But there are many other interesting things. For example, land registration, which is a discussion that's happened at the University of Aruba. Because I also share, I'm a part of the community there, the investment group. So a shout out to anybody listening. And they had a very interesting Bitcoin discussion last week when the minister was there, and our good colleague Stefan Oosterwal and Rendel de Kort from this representing the central bank. So that's why I'm saying it's really exciting. So shout out to you guys. It was a great presentation. We're super happy. And we can't wait to hear and discuss more, and maybe even get to an application of things, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to continue a little bit. Sorry. Land registration.
Wait. A small news of El Salvador as well.
Shoot.
Some of you may know that El Salvador has been looking for a 1.3 billion loan from IMF.
Whoa!
Right?
International Monetary Fund or Mutual Fund?
Yes.
Monetary Fund. Yes.
Yeah. And they recently replied saying you can have it, just drop Bitcoin.
Oh, there you go.
Just you have to drop Bitcoin.
The powers that be.
And then we can talk about it.
Yeah,
right?
well.
And if anyone has heard about this news, El Salvador was like, well, what? No, we refuse. And now this is the new hot debate about El Salvador that's going on.
Well, it's more like showing your true colors, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't have a very high opinion on what the IMF is supposed to be doing. If anybody wants to check out an interesting documentary, it's called The Princes of Yen. It's a free documentary on YouTube and talks about Japan, money, 60 years of economic changes, and who was the beneficiary. And I think the IMF ultimately kind of took over Japan's infrastructure. Go check that out. So I'm not surprised that IMF said that to El Salvador.
So there are two perspectives that people are taking on this, right? IMF is a massive, reliable company or organization that has been funding
institution.
People, or institution.
Yeah.
Thank you for the correction. And that their view should be respected and valued. And if they say that Bitcoin is shady, then yeah, Bitcoin is shady. And the other perspective of it is not trusting IMF. And then them not trusting Bitcoin would be even further proof to be able to go invest with it. And that there's a hidden motivation within it.
Well, it's not hidden. Decentralization is not going to be convenient for what they're supposed to be doing. They're centralized, right? So they give out enormous amounts of cash and they get something for in return. Where decentralized is pretty different. It's about participation and equal rights, right? But anyway, I'm not an economist, and that's why you have some specialists on Aruba that can explain more.
Yes.
But that's great that news is being debated, right? So we can all agree on that.
Yes.
That we're very careful moving forward because we want to move away from the past, because the past the results are on the table. So let me continue a little bit about why governments are exploring, why it's interesting for governments, all governments all over the world. So, for example, land registration is one thing, credentialing for education, healthcare, food supply chains,
Oh, yes.
and
yes.
identity management.
Identity management, I can see definitely, yeah.
And there's a typical example, a real case. Australia Post publicized plans to use blockchain technology for local voting. And Estonia, which is, I think, our e-government partner, is using it to enforce the integrity of its tax and business registration systems.
Oh.
And, and in light of certain cases that are being handled this month, for Aruba, it might be an interesting thing to look into.
Yes, yes.
So I'm happy about that. Now, another thing I wanted to share. The World Bank has proposed a 3-layer design and implementation framework to avoid problems between technology and its intended use.
The World Bank.
The World Bank. So you got the IMF, the World Bank, and here we go.
The World Bank is starting to be neutral.
I think the 3-layer design is not about the blockchain software itself. I think it's more about
all the layers.
3-layer design for protection, and protecting the community kind of thing.
Still surprising to
Surprising,
be
right?
Yeah.
So I found I found a bunch of articles, and I found Forbes being the most valuable. There's a lot of information there because you can go down that rabbit hole, right? So I've checked it out. So governments are very interested, and I think it's a great place to go. But of course, we got to watch out.
Yeah.
A greener blockchain may help save the planet.
Of course.
And that is a huge theme. I want to circle back to that a little bit. When we talk about proof of work and mining and proof of stake, but my friend Stefan sent an interesting article that I want to share on Twitter on CNBC, where basically they have huge mining corporations. And they had a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And they had energy issues. So it was overrun. And the blockchain the miners had to shut down their operations to help out the community.
Oh, wow.
But then there's a supply and demand economic, trajectory. That's interesting because they actually say when they shut down, it did not affect the Bitcoin price. Ooh. But they are losing money. Yeah. But anyway, we'll share that later on in the feed.
Yeah, but the thing is everybody's aware of the insurmountable amounts of energy that Ethereum and Bitcoin as systems use, right? And for them to be greener would be absolutely amazing. The biggest criticism that I've been able to find about the NFTs, which is currently still raving on the internet.
Yeah, I have a piece of that.
Yeah, is the carbon footprint and the amount of energy.
I think the lingo now is carbon. What is it? Carbon neutrality? Or
try to reach carbon neutrality.
Yeah, and there was another article from the Colombian. Blockchain is good for the planet, and there's something that I want to kind of put the magnifying glass on. I'm trying to fish it out.
Who wrote this article?
Todd Myers in Seattle.
Oh.
In 5th February. Plastic Bank is using blockchain to track plastic.
Oh.
And it removes from the beaches in developing countries using data from a chain. Very valuable companies like SC Johnson's that purchase the collected plastic and recycle it into Windex bottles. So that's an interesting thing. And then the application and the utility of the ledger technology, right?
Very nice.
Very nice. And transparent blockchain accounting is also being used to prevent illegal fishing.
Oh.
Right? So greener planet.
Yes.
It's not always about energy consumption. There's also just the utility and
the application itself.
And a greener future is not only about
energy consumption. No,
about emitting. We have plastic to deal with.
Responsible consumption,
corporate social responsibility regarding your trash and how much trash. I mean, I'm going to just say it. Our Balashi creates a lot of trash. They do.
they would do, but now they've started a small incentive that you can.
Of
send
course,
the
but
bottles
I mean,
out, yeah.
that's a reality, and I think everybody has to deal with it. And hopefully, the corporations will start thinking about, their own solutions. And blockchain, what it offers is transparency, right? I've got another thing here, checking it out. Well, I think we've done that. I'll go back to Forbes. Let's move on. So more countries will embrace cryptocurrency as legal tenders. So that's what we talked about. So CDBCs and excuse me, it's central bank digital currency, CBD. Yeah, I had it. CBDCs.
CBDC?
Is it central bank digital currency?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Here we go. NFTs. So the NFT market will continue growing, but with a caveat. So little warning. It's a beautiful way they put it. I think NFT 2.0 is a great milestone you have to think about.
Yeah.
So we are currently in a
Wild West.
Wild West,
yeah, it's
right?
Insanity.
And I think if you right now we're in art, and NFT 2.0 is going to be the utility of NFTs. So the article mentions we're going to learn about utility, gaming, social sharing, and gaining access to hyper-exclusive communities, which is kind of what we're trying to do with our own little thing, right? But you have to start somewhere.
It's very interesting, right? A friend of mine who I've recently reconnected with spoke about how blockchain games has a very interesting future in impoverished countries.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Through playing the games, they will be able to create enough monetary incentive in order to make some form of living. A few years ago, there was a story that people were playing RuneScape in Venezuela, farming gold, and they allow you to buy gold and sell gold for dollars.
Right.
And there were a few cases of them earning more than some doctors, but this is an extremely extreme case. But it has happened before, and NFT games would be able to simplify that.
It's just a testament that technology is living in another sphere and reality. So let's call it your financial infrastructural reality, right? Which is where you live, what is available, is there a bank, is there a school, right? Is there money? And what we're really dealing with is the reality of inflation and the position of your country. And the internet is that great available platform where things can happen. And I watched this Japanese reality show, and it teaches you about a lot of things. And they went to Africa, many different African countries, and the recurring theme is that most Africans view the smartphone as that upward mobility technology that helps them get out of poverty.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing because the phone has helped them skip a step.
Yeah.
So all over Africa, there's these remittance companies sending cash to your families, right? And they don't use traditional bank. So in other words, they don't use SWIFT.
Oh.
Right? So they do use something else.
Interesting.
And it's digital. It's not blockchain just yet. But I think there's another country in South America that has done that as well. I forgot which one. I think it's Honduras.
No idea.
Scratch that.
Shout out to Franklin for bringing that amazing point up.
Cool. Thank you, Franklin. And that's what we want. We want to have discussions, Interesting. Forbes says blockchain will be the most in-demand skill. We've been saying this for years as part of the foundation's mission, our foundation, Full Stack Vision Foundation.
I think the biggest reason of it is that you need very good technical understanding of it, and it's going to be a high-level technical demand. So there aren't going to be a lot of people, and as far as we can see, the adoption rate has not necessarily slowed down over the decade, right? Since if we're taking 2010 into account.
Yeah.
And eventually it's going to be kind of the norm. Not that it's going to overtake everything, but it's going to be everywhere.
And I think crypto skills are not necessarily, I think a lot of people are imagining like these hyper IT guys, programming wizards. I think what they're mentioning is just in general crypto skills. So consultants that can help businesses make right choices, right? So they also mentioned that it's not a hyper technical community of IT experts anymore.
So
it could be more. It could be content creators. It could be, writers. I see a lot of potential in the creative industries, in the gaming industries, in the consultancy industries, even financial experts that will shift and give the right kind of advice. We have that right now.
So we're going to get crypto fanatics
Skills
that are going to say, I am a financial advisor?
No, I'm saying financial experts understanding crypto more. They're going to self-educate, or even better, their organizations will educate. I mean, it happened at JP Morgan. They have a crypto team now. I mean, you Google that, and there'll be an article saying that these banks are bringing in financial crypto skills, right? So that's what I mean. And we're going to be those, hopefully. We want to get there as well. I want to have crypto skills, but I think we're at least at the advocacy level, right?
Yes.
And a lot of people on Aruba are in that level. So I want to kind of go back to another news.
Please check on the Facebook chat if we have any.
Oh, I haven't
comments or
checked.
anything.
I'm so into the articles.
Yeah, of course. Our viewers tend to give us some surprising and very good little chit chats.
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna move on to a very interesting news about GameStop.
Yes.
So what have you heard of that? About that?
Only like a year ago did because of the stock market GameStop quote unquote incident that happens, right? Did they realize that the community realized that?
Oh, yes.
There we go.
There you go.
That GameStop has amazing potential. They just need to shift themselves a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then they would be able to stand on their own. They were very undervalued at the time, right? And one of those would be that they would be the main place to go for anything games related. And gaming industry is a billion-dollar industry, and it's producing comics, it's producing movies, it's producing series, it's producing merchandise, the games itself, DLC's.
Well, let me share with you.
Tell me.
In Dutch they say ze hebben werk van gemaakt.
Okay, translation?
Well, they got busy.
They got busy.
They got busy. So let me share with you what they did. So GameStop partners with Australian blockchain startup to develop a NFT marketplace.
Ooh.
But let's go a little bit further. So they're going to start one with another startup, and it's a Sydney-based Immutable Ltd. Oh. And Immutable is Immutable X.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if
low gas fees.
Is it low gas fees?
As far as I remember, yeah.
Well, if you do a search, Immutable X, the first layer 2 for NFTs on Ethereum. So now we know it's Ethereum based, right? And they're hyper focused on carbon neutral.
Yes.
But will this work?
There's only one way to find out.
Could this put Ethereum back on that trust map of scalability and access? Because that's the issue we're having for minting, really turning our assets into something digital. It's just right.
Prices,
yeah, exactly. But interesting, right? So Immutable is going to sign up with a very interesting player, right? I want to share with you. They're going to create a fund with Immutable up to $100 million to distribute to developers. A lot like what Cardano does.
Oh,
right. So you see that everybody's kind of looking at each other and taking the best things that create propulsion, right? Propulsion towards real solutions.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Going forward, the fund will be created using Immutable's cryptocurrency called IMX. So are we buying that? Just kidding. So Immutable also agreed to pay GameStop up to $150 million worth of IMX if GameStop's marketplace achieves milestones for transactions and meets other parameters.
Wow. All
That
right.
is-
All right. So it's like I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And
Yeah, this was reported at the Wall Street Journal,
uh-huh.
and the journal article said the retailer had hired more than 20 people to run a new division. Grapevine, a Texas-based GameStop, has been working to reset its business after years. So what they've done, they've changed the whole team. So when they talked about what is it, last year?
Yeah, the beginning around this time last year, I think. Or
Well,
slightly
they've
before.
rehauled their whole team and they brought somebody in. I
Wow.
think it was an activist investor, Ryan Cohen, and he's done crazy revamping, as you can see, right? And it actually, their stock has gone up,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it has.
So
yes,
yes. That they're indicating excitement on these changes, right? So let me see. There was also another piece of info I had. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted to share. GameStop shares have fallen 50% over the past 3 months, but a handful of NFT marketplaces already exist, right? So we know OpenSea.
OpenSea, yeah.
Last month, OpenSea raised 300 million in venture capital.
Wow.
OpenSea. And its evaluation, it's getting an evaluation of 13.3 billion.
OpenSea alone.
OpenSea,
That's insane.
which we consider still in its early baby
Yeah,
stages,
yeah, it's-
right?
it's-
It is the biggest,
Mm-hmm.
but in context of the world, it's still
Yeah.
really niche. But I think that says a lot about where people are putting focus on technology and financial tech. I think it's touching upon fintech, right? Financial technology,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
So,
DeFi. DeFi is fintech.
DeFi, right?
DeFi.
Let us know, people. Let us know.
Decentralized finances is
I think
fintech.
is
Yeah,
it? I
financial
think it's called DeFi. Like, yeah.
I like it.
Defi?
It's no.
The Dutch say Defi.
Defi. I mean, it's literally spelled like defy, but instead of an Y, it's an I. So that's why it's.
Yeah. So, anything we want to say about ourselves down here in relation to this thing? What can we do, Jean-Luc? What can we do with all this great news? Well, obviously, let's explore crypto skills. What is possible for us down here?
Definitely, in terms of crypto skills, it's just being aware of the terminologies, in my opinion.
So yeah, I think just like anything really, like learning how to play the guitar, you know, just get in there. I think Stefan told me once, to be a Bitcoiner is to get everything you can, read everything you can, just dive in there and just learn as much as you can and become competent. And I think that's what we need to do. You know, let's raise our competency. Let's raise our instead of digital IQ, maybe we should call it like blockchain IQ or something.
Crypto IQ.
Crypto IQ. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
All right. I would say the mere fact that major players within the island are already considering and talking about blockchain is a massive step forward.
Yeah.
And the eventual experimentation with the implementation of blockchain technology or cryptocurrency on the island will come. And once that day arrives, then we will start seeing whether it can be implemented on the island as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Last thing, it is in our title. I got an interesting other news bit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get more specialized news items from the right kind of organizations. Morning Brew is a great place to go and get.
Morning Brew.
Morning Brew is a newsletter. So I get specific technology things.
Nice.
And of course, the big news of this week is Meta has Facebook problems.
Good.
Well, of course. And there's this great logo of an F turning into the little, you know, the Meta
M Infinity logo.
And so let's talk about that for a second for those who did not know, or maybe you do know. But Facebook's monthly users held steadily last quarter at 1.9 billion people, right? And daily active users declined from 1.93 billion to 1.93 to 1.92, which, help me with the number.
1.93 to 1.92.
Is that 10 million people? 10 million active users?
Just gone?
Well, not using it.
Or not, yeah.
Which is
inactive.
a scary thing. That's never happened before.
That's never in the history of Facebook.
A lot of people argue is that TikTok is kind of denting a bit into social as a social platform.
I mean, but I've also heard that the stock value of Meta and TikTok have crashed significantly, like never before in their history as well.
Facebook took a drop. Right? I don't own the number, but their stocks have dropped for the first time ever.
Yeah. Most of the world is not happy with Meta.
Yeah, I see here in the markets, Meta is at $249. It dropped 22%.
In normal stocks. In normal stocks?
Well, normal stocks. In stocks.
In stocks. So we have
Yeah.
crypto stocks, and 28% is like the reason why people say a crypto stock market is volatile, right? And look, Meta dropping that much.
Well, let me do a last little bit of info, and then we're going to close out, I think. You can't help but juxtapose Meta's woes with the giddiness surrounding its fellow internet giant Alphabet.
Alphabet?
Yeah, whose stock soared at 7.5%. So let's take a look. Let's take a little
This is
look.
the first time hearing about Alphabet.
Me too.
Oh.
That's why there's specialized newsletters. I think that's something what everybody should be doing. Don't trust mainstream for them to filter everything. Try and get into the more niche communities and specialized newsletters, right? Here we go. Alphabet company.
I would say platform.
Alphabet company. Google.
So now we are going to look this up together, viewers and dear listeners.
Yes, thank you for that. Is a multinational holding company headquartered in Mountain, California. Oh, through a restructuring of Google. Excusez-moi.
What is Alphabet?
I'll explain. So sorry, guys, we don't know everything, but that's why Alphabet Inc. is an American multinational technology conglomerate holding company headquartered in Mountain View, California. It was created through a restructuring of Google. So it's Google.
It's Alphabet is Google?
I guess so. And became a parent company of Google and several former Google subsidiaries. So, excusez-moi. So Google is the big techs.
The only other competition for Google that they needed to deal with, which was Facebook, is now like wavering, and they're taking all the room that they can. That's horrifying.
And their mission is to make the core Google business cleaner and more accountable. So they're also doing
accountable, hopefully.
But think about it, Alphabet Inc. It's Google has the colorful letters. Makes sense. So we learned something today. So thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And anything you want to say to our listeners?
Keep an eye on Alphabet.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that somehow something this significant would go down our noses. Or
that's our job, isn't it?
Mass media, right?
Yeah.
And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We're probably going to have a part 2 to talk about more crypto news, because it's going to heat up. Yeah.
We're going to invite some people. We have some exciting things coming for Tech Impact. We're going to scale up, and we look forward to sharing with you our future milestones.
Yes.
Have a good one, guys.
Till next week.
Till next week.